This is the single most important video you're going to see on crypto this month, this week, and you need to pay attention now. I see people freaking out with where these markets are going. And if you're already invested, you know what I mean. It's getting pretty ugly out there for altcoins, and most people are going to be exposed to those assets because they're seeking these incredible returns. Okay. What I can see playing out is a shift away from these fundamental altcoins to meme coins. And I actually do see a very big opportunity. So I'm going to take you through that today. You're not going to want to miss this. And if you're getting in early to this channel, it's actually beautiful because this is where you'll find the alpha. Once there's too many people, the alpha deteriorates because it just becomes common market knowledge. So celebrate the fact that we're small and let's really make it together while we're this way because it won't be like this forever. All right. So without further ado, here's the thesis. I'm titling it the Great Meme Rotation. I see other people calling it a meme coin super cycle, but we don't want to do that because that has some really bad vibes from last cycle when everyone just said crypto was going to take over the world, and then we ended up crashing, wiping out 80% of people's net worths. So we're going to steer away from that. But here's the thesis. Crypto investing is shifting from fundamental projects to meme coins. This will be painful for investors exposed to the altcoin sector. Now, the way that we're going to get through this thesis is by the following structures. I'm going to take you through the Bitcoin price and how that's impacting the markets, the altcoin crash that we're in the middle of and what we're seeing, my meme coin super cycle thesis, and what I see the winning bets to be. Okay, so let's just jump in. Now, over the last month, we can see the performance of different altcoins, and it's fair to say that everything is pretty red. All right, at this point, we're definitely down bad. So we do see some big losers here. TIA, which was a leader at the start of the cycle, AVAX, NIR, or Darlings that were going to change the world. SUI, that people were saying was going to be the new Solana, at the moment isn't playing out too well. But amongst this sea of carnage, we do see that some coins have performed reasonably well. So Brett, which is a meme coin with a strong narrative on base. We see Ethereum up, which is due to that narrative around the ETF. We see Pepe, which is doing quite well, the whole Pepe verse, and a few others. Okay, so we just want to keep in mind the broader context of where the market is at right now. But what is most important is Bitcoin, because as I'm sure most of you know, Bitcoin really does run these markets. And at the moment, since March, we've just been in this trading range, okay, guys? But within that, people have been getting really freaked out. So you can imagine the euphoria when we were over here 13 days into March, when we've just breached all-time highs. We're on the back of the ETF news. People are expecting positive macro events. So we're getting very bullish here. And then from this point, we've actually just traded sideways now for up to over 3 months. But the crazy thing for those of you that have been here is seeing the emotional journey that our friends, our colleagues in the industry have been on. From despair to excitement, we're going to $1 million, back to despair, we're going to zero. People getting liquidated here. I know a lot of people that did, who are using leverage, and then just bouncing back up to this trading range. And surprisingly, the amount of people that have lost a lot of net worth through this period, through either using leverage or betting on the wrong altcoins, is pretty wild. But when you do keep in mind that the driving force of these markets is ultimately Bitcoin, you can see that there isn't necessarily reason for outright panic. We are just trading sideways. We're still in this range, and we need to wait for the market to give us the next direction. Okay, when we do, that might be front runnable, but at the moment, we've got to be humble, right? Not get too hubris and say this could go either direction. It's a textbook range, and when there is a movement, it's going to give us a theory on where to put our money in altcoins. Now, the altcoin market is painting a different picture to Bitcoin, and I found the AVAX chart to just paint this out really beautifully. So when the cycle, quote unquote, started back in October, this was one of the early leaders, and that makes sense from a fundamental standpoint when it performed really well last cycle. And there's a similarity in narrative around Solana, like an alt layer one, to challenge Ethereum with the fee troubles. But we do see that you put in these two highs pretty early in the cycle with massive bearish divergence on the RSI, which should have been a signal to people that this rally is losing strength. And then we've come down from there. We've tested this key support. There's really been a pivotal level for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touches. And now we've broken through and we've got targets lower here down to the $19, $20 region. And this is similar with Say. So Say was another one of those altcoins that people were getting really excited about. And now we're at a point where we're down 70%, having breached key support, and the bleed just seems to continue. So this brings us back to the question of what should we be doing in these markets? Okay, we see that key altcoins that people would have described as the stronger players are in a really bad spot. We see that Bitcoin is going sideways and in a position where its next move could really dictate the direction of all other crypto prices. And that gets me into the Memecoin super cycle thesis. And I know I said I wouldn't call it a super cycle, but look, I'm just getting a bit too excited. So why do I think memes are a game changer and the clear plays in this market environment? What data do I have to support that? And how can you question this view? Because you shouldn't just take everything I say to be truth. You should think critically about it. Okay, so here's why I think memes are so bullish. The first point here is that institutions are participating in meme coins. This is a change in narrative from the prior cycle where people probably just thought, yo, this is some stupid stuff that just the degens are doing. People aren't going to be wanting to get into it. But the truth of the matter is that all market participants are just here to make money. And if people see the opportunity to have a reasonable investment in this, whether it be institutional capital or Joe from down the road, they're not going to be deterred. All right. Now, why are institutions investing in meme coins? And it comes down to a few reasons. So firstly, everything is on chain, which is really huge because if you have some level of on-chain analysis, you have a deep understanding of what you're getting into. And that can be really good because in other circumstances, like with traditional coins, there's a team running stuff with different vested interests who potentially have tokens they're going to dump. They might have unlock dates and whatnot. So you don't have as much control over the market as a big capital allocator as with meme coins. Additionally, the marketing is cheap and there are low barriers to entry. So it's very easy to market these coins because you don't have to have any level of technical understanding. You simply have to find joy in the meme and have the expectation that the price will go up. This makes it accessible to retail much better than people trying to have to work out about parallelized EVMs or why this different altcoin is superior in some technical way. This is what I propose is a story of the past of crypto that we're going to reflect on. Memes capture culture. They're much funner, and people will intuitively understand this stuff. So retail get them, and it's something that they're going to be interested in. Now, we also have the precedent of last cycle. So Doge and SHIB really did crush it, and it created this mentality that memes can really bloody pump. They can do well. They do have value. So people don't have to reach this far in this cycle to compare the potential upside, given that they've got these crazy targets from Doge and SHIB. Now, next, we do see that the majority of projects are actually memes anyway, guys. So having worked in the industry now for 3 years, having started my own company, I can tell you that the majority of projects are vaporware. They don't do what they say they will, and people are just incentivized by profit, and they end up going down 90% plus in the bear market anyway, all right? So if all projects are memes, why not just invest in the ones that are authentic about this without teams profiting unfairly and have a more level playing field for everyone? It just makes complete sense. And this comes to the honesty that meme coins have about where they fit into the market and the potential risks and opportunities investing in them. And finally, this point is just resonates with me, but I don't know how applicable it is to why I'm so bullish on memes. But at the end of the day, crypto came about as a bit of a FU to TradFi, in the sense that people weren't happy with central bank monetary policy and where society was going. Well, meme coins are a bit of a FU to VCs because VCs had this culture of investing early in projects and dumping them on the market. Well, you can't really do that if everyone's just creating their own meme coins and investing in this democratized way. So I feel like it's a bit of an evolution of the culture in crypto as well, which is a nice little spicy thing to chuck in there. So let's just set out how I see this meme coin dominance really being validated by the market. While most of the sector's down, we have Pepe putting in a modest 300% move and now retesting this previous resistance turn support. Okay, we have Pepe Coin who made this incredible run and is yet to make new lows. And I'm just going to rattle through this stuff, guys. We have WIF, who is, despite being in the midst of a significant correction, still holding above $2, guys, which is insane when it just breached these levels in March. We have Bobo making new highs, still looking very strong. And the list goes on and on, all right? While meanwhile, we have these traditional coins. We have our Say down 70%. We have ADA just looking horrible, having capitulated below the support. We have Sui down at 80 cents, just looking horrible, having breached these key levels. Arbitrum going to zero. Like, you guys can see what I'm saying here. I don't need to take too much time, but there's a clear demonstration that memes are where the capital is flowing. They're holding up the best in this market, which is quite incredible. If someone had told you that before, you would have said, yo, you're crazy, because it didn't used to be like that. Memes would used to capitulate first, okay? So we're in this crazy point where we can see that memes are being preferred by the market. We understand the fundamental reason why, and we can tell which ones the winners are. Now, how can we tell which ones the winners are, guys? Well, let me show you this chart. So MOG is one of the winners and Bowden is one of the losers. Now, they're both meme coins that people got really excited about. But we can see that MOG has made new highs from this pivot point while Bowden's made new lows. So not all memes have retained their value or are making new highs in this tough market condition. Only the winners. So we are now in the point of the market cycle where we know what memes are the blue chips, the real blue chips and the winners. And we're still in a position where if Bitcoin breaks up, there's going to be extra capital to flood into these memes, which gives us our opportunity, guys. It gives us our chance to make asymmetric bets into these memes that have separated themselves and are really proving to be the true blue chips of this cycle. All right. So here's how I'm approaching it. I'm going to give you guys everything. I'm going to give you everything. All right. So the way that I'm approaching this, if we just scroll down here, is through an 80-20 barbell strategy. So 80% of my portfolio in these majors and 20% in blue chip memes, the real blue chip memes that have been identified now in this part of the cycle. So why am I doing this? Through putting 80% in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Sol, I can capture the overall trend of the market. There's no way that crypto goes up and these three assets aren't part of that. They are the only ones with real network effects, adoption, and usage. And I'm not smart enough to pick between these three networks and decide which one's best. A lot of people do try that, but for me, I prefer to just have exposure to all three, all right, and not make my gains through knowing which network is superior. And if the market does go up as we're hoping, there's a really solid chance that just that 80% will 2 to 3x my portfolio in terms of returns. Now, also investing like this in the blue chips does protect your capital. Like if you have money in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana right now, at least with Bitcoin, that's definitely not going to zero. I don't want to say definitely, but like 99% plus chance it's not going to zero. And there's a similar idea with Ethereum and Solana, although you are taking on some more risk. Now, what is spicy is the 20% of portfolio across blue chip memes. Why have I done this? Well, at the end of the day, you want to bet on the fastest horses of the cycle. And I see all the information I need to know that altcoins aren't it this time around, at least until there's a new narrative around some actual use case or new technology that gets people genuinely excited. So at this point, I want to be betting on the fastest horses. And I feel like we're in a position where winners have already been chosen. Now, I'll do some individual videos on this, but if you want to do this for yourself, just go through different meme coins, right? Pull up the list on CoinGecko or Dex Screener and see which ones have performed well over the last few months and which ones have capitulated, okay? Then take that as the market signaling that these are the winners of the cycle and look for good entry opportunities on those. And the main reason why I'm making these investments is because I think there's really asymmetric upside to downside, right? So on these blue chip memes, the most you can lose is 100% of what you put in, assuming you don't short or use leverage. And meanwhile, the upside is 10x, 100x, depending upon where you get in. So just to summarize, right? We see that there's been this shift in the market, the great meme rotation, that's causing a lot of people difficulties because they're overexposed to altcoins. We see that Bitcoin is just in a trading range, nothing crazy. We don't know where the market's going yet. People are getting overly emotional, overly bullish, and it's all for no reason. We're just going sideways, and at some point, they'll actually have reason to develop that thesis. And we can see which memes are getting into the position of being the blue chips for this cycle, right? So question this thesis. Ask me questions below if you want to get through this in greater detail. But this is your base framework for how you can conquer the markets moving forward over the next 6 to 12 months. We're going to get more granular with it, guys. So once again, I thank you for joining me at the start of this journey. You do want to celebrate that we're small. I'm telling you, everyone wants to be validated by being part of something bigger. But at the end of the day, you can only get real alpha on the markets when people are small, because once you're listening to the big channels, everyone's seeing that. So you're just part of the herd, and the herd never succeeds. So find small channels that you believe in who present stuff in good ways. It doesn't have to be me. And let's really try and conquer these markets together. So I'll be seeing you tomorrow, and let's get it. All right. Peace out, gang.